What's going on, guys? I'm in Aguascalientes. Up there, you can't see it, but I can, are the ruins of Machu Picchu. And that's what we're gonna do on today's episode. We're gonna photograph Machu Picchu. And they've made a bunch of changes that are gonna make that a little bit harder. So I'm gonna talk you through that. We're gonna make some photos, and hopefully the weather's good. Machu Picchu is on many a bucket list, and it should be. I've been here nearly a dozen times now, and every time is special, even if things are changing from how they were over a decade ago when I first visited. Sorry, kind of crazy, and sorry I don't have a microphone on, but you can't take a microphone into Machu Picchu. But the trains have been shut down due to a strike. And as a result, I think it might be really quiet at Machu Picchu. So we're catching the bus now, and might actually have the place fairly quiet, which kind of makes all the restrictions and rules feel really strange today, but we'll still talk about them. So let's jump on this bus and go up to a Machu Picchu that's going to be definitely less busy than usual. As I mentioned, and I'm not bragging, I swear, I've been to Machu Picchu about 10 times. And this isn't the first time a strike or protest has blocked access to the site. Locals know the power they have in cutting access to Machu Picchu. And they know that there's only two ways in, a long hike or the train. So cutting the train's access is a huge bargaining chip. That's what happened here today. Luckily, we were on the last train in before the service was cut. And the result is that there's no line at all to get the bus up to the site or to get in. This is crazy, actually. Because of the strike, there's like a tenth of the people that are normally here. And it kind of feels like we almost have it to ourselves, which is awesome. We've already stopped at one of the classic views of Machu Picchu, and we're just hiking uphill right now. One of the restrictions that's kind of always been on is that you couldn't have a tripod open. But they used to let you use a small little tripod and set up, but now they don't even let you use like a gorilla pod or a platypod. In fact, you're not even supposed to stop for a long time to set up a photo. You're supposed to just do it really quickly. And I'm out of breath, so I'll tell you more later. A big change that came into effect here at Machu Picchu recently is that you now require a guide. Also, you need to book a time slot for your entry to the site. And to further reduce congestion problems caused by over 1.5 million annual visitors, there are 4 different circuits of Machu Picchu have been designed, each with a daily visitor limit. You have to stay on your circuit. So, take the filter off. I think I caught my breath, so I'll continue talking. We're up above Machu Picchu, that's the watchtower. It is so dead in here because of the train cancellations that there's nobody. Usually there's just rows and rows and rows of people. And one of the rules that they put in was that you actually couldn't stop. You literally could stop for like 10 to 30 seconds to take a photo, and then you had to move on. Or the guides would yell at you and they'd push you along. And then worst thing, you couldn't go backwards. You literally couldn't go like that. You weren't allowed to go backwards. You have to follow the circuit. And it makes it very difficult to take pictures if you've never been before, because you don't know where the best ones are. And you just constantly have to go. So I have no tripod today. Kind of enjoying the fact that I don't have a tripod, to be honest. But it is kind of, yeah, a little bit sad that you can't, go up, sit on a terrace like we used to be able to, and just watch Machu Picchu. That was such a special thing that you just can't do anymore. You can't just come up here, sit, and watch. A small correction, you can just stand and watch. There are a couple large platforms that are designed as photography spots. Since people aren't blocking a trail by standing there, you can stay as long as you can convince your guide to let you. This is one of those platforms. So I can't get over how empty it is. This is just weird. There's our group, one other group, and I think that's it. I think that's everybody that's here. The guards have been a little bit more lenient, and I asked them politely, and they said that we can use our tiny little mini tripods. Usually absolutely no mini tripods, not even gorilla pods, but they've been kind enough to let our group bring them up, which is great. Great for them. I left my tripod at home, or at least down at the bottom, so I don't have one, but it's still cool. Meet Oliver. Oliver brought his mini tripod, and this is some of his footage. photography rules here. Some of them are kind of crazy, like the mic on top of my camera, I'm not allowed to have it. I have to hide that in my pocket when I enter. Another rule is that a professional camera is considered one that has a lens more than 200 millimeters. And I don't know what somebody's gonna do with a 300 millimeter lens here, but you can't bring it in, otherwise it's professional. It doesn't matter how expensive or cheap that 300 millimeter lens is, you can't use it here. Another thing is backpacks. You can't take like a full-size camera bag in. The max size you're allowed to take into Machu Picchu is 20 liters. And if you have a bigger bag than that, they'll literally make you put it into a locker at the entrance. So you might come in with 4 or 5 lenses and a big backpack, they'll make you stick it into a locker. So don't even bother trying to do that. I've taken just this tiny little bag, it's 10 liters, because it's all I need. I've just put in my camera I'm filming on now, which is the R6 with a 17 to 40 millimeter. And then in my backpack, I've got a 70 to 200 on my Canon R. One last thing, which isn't you know, a rule or anything, but a tip for photographing here is grad filters. You often struggle with exposure here because it's pretty dark down in the valleys, and then the sky is pretty bright and overcast. So something like this is a 2-stop soft grad ND will help even out some of these skies. And
we're blessed. With the trains down, we have so much free time here, and the guards are being much more lenient about letting us wander around. Many of the rules here are meant to reduce congestion and overcrowding, so when there are no crowds, most of the rules are unnecessary. In fact, we even find time to just sit and enjoy the view, a luxury most aren't afforded here anymore.
A bit of gear advice, I guess. I think you're pretty much good with an ultra wide lens, something like a 15 to 35 or 17 to 40, and something zoomy like a 70 to 200. Again, you can't take over 200, but a 70 to 200. I've actually found a couple cool photos with the long lens here. Not only of the ruins, but there was a couple of biscachas, which are, I think, chinchillas actually in English. I might be wrong about that. Just sitting right up behind me over there. And yeah, there's some cool photos with the long lens here. The first time I ever came, I made tons and tons of photos of the view. Just a lot of photos of the view and nothing else. And when I was going through them, I was like, I probably should have photographed some of the other stuff. So bring a long lens, or better yet, bring 2 bodies, one with each lens, and then just switch between them. That's all you really need.
The long lens opens up the option of much more detailed photos. There are some beautiful patterns and textures to the lay of the ruins here. The way the terraces weave along the cliffs is stunning. And there is the chance of spotting biscachas. We even saw a condor floating overhead at one point. Oh, and there's Oliver. Be sure to check out Oliver's videos from Peru too. There's a link in the description.
Okay, we're on our way out now. That was awesome. Almost like our own private tour of Machu Picchu. Absolutely crazy. And we're back again in the morning, so let's carry on this video and see what it looks like in the mist.
In the morning, it was busier. The trains are still down. However, all the people that did some of the treks arrived the previous evening. Salcantay, for example, ends in town. There will also be some of the 500 Inca Trail hikers arriving at the Sun Gate this morning. And you can actually catch a bus to a hydroelectric dam near Aguas Calientes and walk about 2 hours to town. So it's definitely not our own private Machu Picchu again. But with the train still down, it's definitely way quieter than usual. And in the mist, it's unreal. With the crowds much thinner than usual, we were allowed to linger at the view and watch the mist lift without being shouted at by the watch guards to keep moving. And though it took nearly 2 hours and we had to suffer through a small group of American sorority sisters constantly shouting, "It's happening!" every time it seemed the mist would lift, eventually we got the morning view we promised ourselves. It's exactly 9 in the morning now, and just now, finally, Machu Picchu showed herself. So we got some cool photos. It wasn't, sunrise light. That's a really, really rare thing to happen here. You tend to get about 9 o'clock, not 6:30 light. So sometimes you have to sit and hang out a little bit longer. But you can't really sit and hang out a little bit longer anymore because they force you to move along now. So it makes sense to take 2 or 3 visits here. Now, if you're a photographer, rather than just one, come early for that 6 a.m. experience, come for like an 8 a.m. ticket, and then definitely do an afternoon as well. It's always quieter in the afternoons. And good news, turns out that the trains are running again, so we'll be able to get out of here this afternoon. So let's explore a little bit more, and then let's head back to Cusco. I've heard countless photographers say things like, "I don't want to go to Machu Picchu anymore." The rules against tripods have scared some people off. The rules about needing to keep moving have deterred others. But let me be clear about something. If your entire purpose for visiting Machu Picchu is to get great photos, yeah, you should stay home. Machu Picchu is a wonder. It is, in my opinion, the most impressive ancient wonder on the entire planet. If you're deterred from visiting it because you can't take pictures, I think you're visiting for the wrong reasons. I've been here a dozen times over a dozen years and photographed it on and off a tripod. And I'd have done it all again many times over without a camera in my hand. And just admire this place. It's singular in its beauty. It's mysterious. It's magic. And though it's cheesy, you don't capture this place with a camera and lens. You capture it with your imagination. And if you're lucky, it captures you. I'm signing off this video because I forgot to do an outro. So that's all I have to say about that. Machu Picchu's awesome. Go visit it, tripod or not. Peace!